Ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, today is official tax day. I think I liked it better last year and they moved it to July. My tax advice is this: avoid, don't evade, avoid all taxes you can and delay. File an extension. All right, Israel versus Hamas, AKA the Palestinians. Folks, I have a lot to say about this. I'll try to say it succinctly. You know what? Can you imagine? Somebody fires rockets at the United States. We fire back, and some country tells us, hey, stop. Can you actually imagine that? Hamas is a terrorist organization. They started the fight. They fire rockets at Israel. Israel says, oh, no, you don't. And they're going after them. And Israel's so freaking smart. Did you hear about them saying that they were going to start this ground war so they go into the tunnels thinking there's booby traps, and then they blew up the tunnels? And then Hamas uses children as hostages, and they put children everywhere that they can. They use an AP building, a bunch of cowards. So Israel blows up the AP building, and then there's lies saying, oh, there's no lies. And then, of course, you got the squad and other people. How can anybody be touting and supporting Hamas and the people who began this? Who can do that? I will never, and I've talked to my few Jewish friends, and I tell them all the time, I said, I don't get the Democratic Party, the Jews supporting the Democratic Party. Never got it, never will. Don't understand it. So, ladies and gentlemen, the American jury and Bulldog Nation, I say, Israel, do your thing. And then, of course, we know who finances Hamas. The Iranians. The Iranians. Who John Kerry, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, the rest of them are in love with. Why? What is their infatuation with Iran? I don't understand that either. You have to have the mental agility of a small soap dish to think that playing footsie with Iran is going to turn out well. Crazy. Forced vaccinations. They're going on all around the country. The millions of college students are being forced to be vaccinated. So, hey, get vaccinated or you're not going to be able to come back to school. All the major companies, retailers are doing it now. Forced vaccinations. And I tell you what just makes me just flip out about any of this is that you're dealing with a situation like the flu. You really are. It's like the flu. Is there forced flu shots in this country? Have there ever been forced flu shots? Now, don't get me wrong. I know coronavirus, especially like type A blood, something like that, you've got a little bit more risk. You have an underlying issue. Guess what? You got a higher risk to die of the flu if you have an underlying issue. It's just forced vaccinations is preposterous. Here in the freaking United States. Can't make it up. Origin of COVID. The pressure is building and building. That, hey, let's get to the bottom of this. Let's get to the bottom of it. Everybody knows it's China. All the factual circumstances, China. You know what's fascinating is Joe Biden doesn't seem to be the least concerned about it. By the way, next weekend, I think I'm going to do a video about all of the hypocrisies of the Biden administration and the Democratic Party. It is off the charts. CDC. How do you like this? CDC now are changing things. Dying of COVID, dying with COVID. Wow. They didn't have that characterization under Trump, did they? No. Yeah, oh, my goodness. History Makers. There's a book written by Richard Cohen called The History Makers. And this just floors me. They say there's not enough blacks in the History Makers book. This guy focused on the big ones. You know what? I like Frederick Douglass. I like Booker T. Washington. Folks, they're not in the same category as Napoleon, Alexander the Great. They just aren't. We got to change our history? I'm sorry. They just aren't. Friends reunion. Speaking of the race issue, Friends reunion is under attack. Boy, is there a whiter show than Friends? Is there? There's not enough black celebrity guest appearances on the Friends reunion. They're under attack now. Friends, too white for America today. Wall Street. There's a story out about the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal reported that Wall Street is happy. They're happy with the unemployment situation because they like the federal government tax dollars, which fuel the stock market. Isn't that sick? Isn't that sick? It's sick. Bitcoin. Wow. Now, you know what? Does Musk control Bitcoin? Of course he does. Elon Musk is now saying that he might sell all of his Bitcoin. Tanked. Called it a hustle on Saturday Night Live. Tanked. I looked at the crypto futures last night. Bloody. Bloody, bloody, bloody. And not only that, the IRS is starting to get involved. They want to know more about cryptocurrency. Who's got it? What's going on? By the way, just so you know, I have stayed away from it, and I feel stupid. Some days I'm like, gosh dang, man, if I would have put X in there, boy, I would have all that. But then stuff like this starts happening and it makes me a nervous wreck. University of California, in a deal with minority students, is doing away with test scores completely. No ACT, SAT. Come on. Let's be dumber. You think lessening standards is going to make America better? Who thinks lessening standards makes America better? You have to be some kind of stupid to think lessening standards is going to make America better. Vet, a female vet, was beat up by 4 black women and called a white bitch. Let's flip the switch. Can you imagine if 4 white women took a black woman out of a car, veteran, and called her a black bitch? Just think about that. No uproar. Again, black privilege. Black privilege. Liz Cheney, Patrisse Cullors, one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, who's buying all these $1 billion homes. She's saying that housing is racist. You know what? There's something called your credibility and hypocrisy, and we all have a little bit of that. But you know what? I don't get how people... Well, I know why. The American Communist 10 protects them. But can you imagine somebody who does that is saying housing is racist? Really? Liz Cheney. Folks, Liz Cheney is gone. Liz Cheney is saying January 6th could happen again. She's saying all these other... Folks, does anybody in America, anybody, is going to start following Liz Cheney besides all those other guys like Mitt Romney? They are all clowns. And you know what the core problem with Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney, Jeff Flake, and the whole crowd of them is? Cindy McCain? Jealousy. They're jealous of Trump. In other words, his personality and followers are bigger than theirs. So they're jealous. Pure and simple. And I don't know why anybody gets all... There are some people that have said, and there was an article by Eugene Robinson in the Inquirer yesterday, and an op-ed piece, where he said that the Trump Republican Party is more of a risk to this country than anything else. Really. But Liz Cheney doesn't have any following. Liz Cheney's not going to be reelected to Congress. Liz Cheney is just jealous of Trump. Biden has revoked the executive orders that Trump put in place against tech for censorship. Imagine that. American Communist 10 working together. Portland residents are saying they don't want to go to the city because it's sad and depressing, yada, yada, yada. Well, what the hell were they doing when their city was burning down? Tax dollars, our tax dollars in the Midwest help go solve all these issues now. New York Police Department versus gay pride. I think I already covered that last week. But what happened to equality? Oh, that's right. It's only equality if it involves the American Communist 10. Up to $21 billion worth of earmarks in this American bill that the Democrats are wanting to promote. Presidential polls in 2020. You ready for this drum roll? They were off and were more disparity since any polls in the last 40 years. Imagine that. The Space Force commander spoke out against Marxism and critical race theory, fired. Don Lemon, CNN show, canceled. He said he's going to be doing something else. Don Lemon, taken off the air. Mark Twain, a professor, has been fired because he read from Mark Twain, who, of course, used the N-word in Huckleberry Finn, Tom Sawyer, so forth and so on. You know, one day, I've been joking with people on my staff, one day I'm going to come on this show and just say the N-word like 25, 36 times, and just that's going to be my show. It's unbelievable. It's like detonate. And what cracks me up, it will always just crack me up about the N-word, is how, I mean, people, well, that's just the way it is. That's the way it is, Bulldog. Well, just because it's the way it is doesn't make it right. Blacks can say the N-word all that they freaking want. White person says the N-word, crucify his ass. Last but not least, Joe Biden apparently doesn't like eating greeny, leafy food like salads because he's afraid it would be in his teeth when he had a picture taken. What did I tell you about Joe Biden way back when? Joe Biden thinks he's Mr. Handsome. He thinks he's Mr. the gray-bearded lion. You know, I'm Mr. Handsome. He's got that whole, just like Hunter. The acorn doesn't fall far from the tree. They think that they're Mr. Handsomes. That just proves it right there. Worry about that image, instead of substance. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Enjoy this rainy day.